Hello, YouTube. We are here for our Walk with Jesus Wednesday live. And if you're catching the replay, go ahead and comment replay in the chat so we can know that you watched it and you were able to join us and catch up with us. But this week we are wrapping up week 3 from our 31 days of wisdom from women in the Bible. And the theme of the week was obedience and purpose. And so on today's call, we're going to be tying that into Jesus. And Cheryl, do you have anything that you wanted to share as we kick this off?
I am always just amazed by the devotionals, the things that we create, and we walk with it. And today we got to like tie it to Jesus because I was like, Candace. But this week we learned about Esther, and we've talked about Esther before. And everyone knows the saying, not everyone, most
No.
people, some people know, for such a time as this. And the Bathsheba,
I
right?
say Bathsheba.
Bathsheba was about grace and restoration. The widow of Zarephath. I don't know all the words, and it's kind of like favish for me. So, provision and trust. The Shunammite woman. Um, Radical hospitality. Mary, mother of Jesus, surrender and obedience, and Elizabeth, joy and faithfulness. And tomorrow is Anna, patient worship. But obedience and purpose. I think we always we talk about purpose because we're chasing our purpose, or just like we know that we're here made for a purpose. I don't even want to say chasing purpose anymore because I don't want to be chasing it. It's here and
Living.
we're
Living in
living in
purpose.
purpose.
Ooh.
So we're changing our saying because we're not chasing it. It's here. And we are just receiving it. And I think the biggest word to me like was obedience. Obedience was one of those is one of those words like in society today that like you have to be obedient. You have to follow every single thing that other people say, but now that like it's obedience to Jesus and God, that's a little bit different because um it's from a person, place. It's it's from God. So God is all knowing, that whole thing. We just need to wear that shirt every day. All knowing, all present, all powerful, all the things like we can give to Jesus. So why not be obedient to him? But I think we're gonna talk about is like how does that tie into like daily life?
Yes. And ironically, not ironically, this morning I've got a heavy, massive, loud call to act in obedience. And so if you hear me like seemingly nervous or like shaky, if you can hear that in my voice, it is because like what we're going to get into a little bit later too, like being obedient can feel scary. But the cool thing is, at some point in here, we'll talk about Jesus even shows us that that's normal. It's okay to do that, right? So, but I really, you were saying something about you were catching up on the women's stories yesterday,
Oh, okay.
not yesterday, from the week. You were just kind of right then highlighting them, and then I found, I feel like it was day 17. So let me just see if that's what day it actually was.
And if you're backstage, let us know like what your favorite day was or what day like I don't even want to say favorite anymore. The day that
That
stood
stood
out
out
to
to
you.
you, maybe
Yeah.
impactful. So yeah, it was day 17. Ironically enough, provision and trust. And the part that I commented back to our project broadcast number was her story shows us that when we trust God with the little we have, he proves himself faithful again and again. God sees what's in your hands, and when you release it to him, he can make it more than enough. Oh my gosh. Cheryl and Sunny, when you, and everyone who goes backstage, when you hear the rest of my story from today, that was one I literally just got caught up with yesterday on my walk outside, and I texted that part to talk about and highlight on today's call. And that is what God is calling me to do right now. But He gave me the answer before I had the experience. So
Yeah.
He's calling us to trust Him and know that He is always faithful. He's always going to show up. And then the next day that really stood out in me, the part that stood out to me was the next day, the Shunammite woman, radical hospitality. I have always known I am a very hospitable person. Is that how you say that? And everyone's always been like, "You're a people person. You're so fun. Like you take, like kind and caring and blah blah blah." But the word shalom, which I didn't know until I watched The Chosen last summer, what that even meant, and it means peace, and like it as well. And it said she responded when she went to, I think it was Elijah. I don't even know who she went to. But she went to, I think it was Elijah, and she said, "It is well." It wasn't a denial of what she was actually experiencing. Because a lot of times we'll be like, "It's good, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine," right? And that's kind of more said like in a denial. But it says it was a declaration. She wasn't ignoring the crisis, she was anchoring her spirit in faith. Even when her heart was breaking, she didn't waste time explaining her grief to people who couldn't solve it. She went straight to the one connected to God's power. At the time was Elijah. Uh Hello, let's talk about foreshadowing again in my own life. I today this morning with a couple of my friends was having conversation about anchoring in faith, and I even said to Cheryl, sometimes obedience, like when you're called to make these bold obedient steps and they feel nervous and like it's something that you actually like had this feeling before it happened, you're like, I said to her, I was like, I don't know if it was intuition or if this was fear and that I've now created because we are able to co-create. And she's like, yes, I think it, we're going to find proof of what we are looking for. And I was like, yes, and I'm choosing to find proof that God is calling me to trust in His provision. Wow, wow, wow.
Yes. Wow. Um, I'm
Wow.
just letting you go. The But the other, and to me, what kind of connects to that was Mary's story. And it was like, I was just talking to Candace about, like, dang, Mary was sent a dream and then she randomly had a baby. And this never happened before. And this baby was the son of God. Like, how do you, like, if one of my children were given to me, like, if that whole thing happened to me, I'm like, how did she stay patient? How did she stay obedient? How, like, to me, it was like the how was kind of like mind blowing how she just went through that. And then she just saw her son die on the cross. And like, that just reminded me of one of my friends. Like, I don't know what I would do if I saw my kid die because one of her friend's kids passed away like suddenly. And she's like, I think I would die. And I was like, I know, but like I was like, okay, Mary, she didn't die. She stayed obedient. She stayed in her purpose. And
Well,
um
can we
just having
expand
that,
on that?
yes,
She didn't die. She also didn't get angry with God. How many
yes,
times do people who are like, "Oh, I'm with God when everything's good and great," and then like you lose a child and then they turn from him? Like the one thing you need the most, not just losing a child, but any hardship in your life. And to me, that as a mother, I'm like, as Cheryl's saying too, I feel like my human would probably be dying. Like I don't know how I'd get up except for maybe the fact I have three other children, right?
yeah,
Like that would be probably the thing that keeps me going. But she even still held her faith through it.
yes. That's why this week is so powerful because of that. I think it is that next step after we go through courage and boldness, like we have that, our identity and foundation, like now it's like obedience and purpose. It's time to like be obedient, meaning like to me, it's like listen to what God is showing you, look for what's God showing you. But like I was telling you, like we have that choice to choose fear or faith, and we can find evidence for both. But if we choose faith, it's even more Like it's towards, not even towards, it's in purpose, on purpose.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to kind of dive into like Jesus's perspective
Yeah,
on
I think we're
obedience
gonna
and purpose?
probably, I think it's best we just kind of hit a couple points and then we go backstage for the rest
Okay.
with everybody else. But um, so here's some points to consider or things to notice about Jesus's perspective on obedience and purpose. So his obedience is to the Father and purpose is through surrender. So Jesus's purpose was completely aligned with obedience to the Father. His mission was not about his personal ambition, but fulfilling God's plan. So we find true purpose when we align our will with God's will. And I would take it a step further and say when we take on the meaning and vastness of our commitment to him through our baptism and through our daily renewal, right? So that we're cooking up something amazing for June 2025. Like it is going to be life changing. It is life changing, like it already is. But part of that is realizing what actually happens when we do commit to this, when we do get baptized, when we do, like there's so much power there. And so that is what happens whenever we do that. And then when we take the actions every day, we're obedient with that daily renewal, that we are able to walk in our purpose, right? Like we not only just find it, you're able to walk in it even when it's scary. And so John 6:38 says, "For I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me." So it was more than just an action, it was alignment. Did that bring up anything for you?
That it was just like he knew that he wasn't ultimately in control, and we have that choice every day. Like we're not ultimately in control. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen next. We never know what's going to happen next. I always tell my kids that. You don't know what's going to happen next, but not in a scary way, but knowing that we don't have to control all the things. We just have to control, not, I guess, control ourselves and our actions and just be obedient and faithful. Just knowing that uh just every part of the chosen or like God Jesus' story that we listen to from the gospel is like he didn't have to like he could have cured everyone. Could have made everyone happy, made everyone clean, made everyone not blind, made everyone hear. He could have created heaven on earth, like right there, but he didn't because it wasn't according to God's will. That's not the lessons that God wanted to show.
Right.
So
And God wants the relationship more than the perfectness. I'm going to repeat that for the people in the back. God wanted the relationship more than the perfection, right? So, all too often, us humans, we're on this planet and we think we have to be perfect to earn God's love or his favor or anything else, when really, he just wants you to come to him and surrender to him and then walk in the direction that he's telling you to go. Take that step. Like today, pick up your courage and get it from me when you don't feel it. When your nervous system is freaking the frank out, you are like, breathe in God, breathe in peace, speak the word shalom over yourself, right? Like shalom, shalom. Saying it twice is like perfect peace.
and you
So,
didn't tell them you saw a license plate that's a shalom times
it
two.
said
Oh,
shalom to you.
oh, to you.
I was
Okay.
like, oh my goodness. And I would have never even noticed what that even meant before. So,
You'll be
and it
like
was
SHA.
it was missing the A. But it was understandable. But it was just whenever we are feeling that way, just pick up God and walk with him. Know that you can get everything you need from him and it is all within because we get baptized and when we do the Holy Spirit is within and that's our connection to heaven right here and the coding is already in our DNA. That's also to be continued in June. But another point here is that Jesus didn't just follow God's instructions; he delighted in them. It nourished him, it grounded him. It was literally the driving force in everything he did. And Cheryl and I were talking yesterday or the day before. I don't know. I think it was Monday. And she was like, we're listening to all these things now, and we're like, both of us are yelling like, but God, like we're like, God, 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 God. And so like we are here to show and be a guiding light for you that God is the nourishment. God is the answer. God is your driving force. And that kind of takeaway comes from John 4:34, where he says, my food, said Jesus, is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. That line right there could be your personal credo for life. My food, my nourishment is to do the will of God and to finish his work. Period. Done. If anyone's looking for your purpose in life, there it is. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing Jesus shows us is that he modeled radical obedience by fulfilling that God's purpose, um, to showing us that God's purpose is often partnered with sacrifice. Going back to my conversation today, sacrificing comfort, right? And
Yes.
even Cheryl and I were talking about that yesterday. Like, there's a call to sacrifice the comfort. And then I saw after that on Instagram, I saw this. It was like like a Christian workout guy, and at the one of the last slides was like, crucify comfort. I'm like, can you imagine? Can you challenge yourself to be so obedient that you are willing to crucify comfort to be righteous, like within right standing with God and his will?
Yeah. And comfort is not like a comfy blanket all the time. Comfort could be the anxiety you feel because you're comfortable in anxiety. We just watch Inside Out too. So that's why. I think of that character. The sadness you feel like Eeyore, feeling sad all the time, but that was his comfort. What if he was happy all the time like Tigger? Like, what if he was that? And I love that we went through I don't know what the topic was, but about words and how words are important. Um, and that just made me think about more of the things that it made me go into the comfort level that I'm in. And if that is like, is it comfort? Is it like just questioning it? And that's the beauty of like just being aware, being listening, and also being obedient to like, okay, I'm gonna go down that um rabbit hole, but I don't want it to be a rabbit hole, like because I want you to come out of it. I'm gonna go down that tunnel and come back out. And just we're gonna talk about it more on the podcast. So I don't want to like put it all out here, but just like that radical obedience, it doesn't feel good. Like it feels you it does not feel normal because it's not your normal comfort. I'm moving all of my cameras right now because I'm so excited. But just obedience onto death is just like, okay, that makes sense of like, to me it's going to the death of my like a former identity, but
Yes.
also hearing that we don't have to like, our past matters, but it doesn't like matter right now, like in front of God. Like it doesn't matter in front of God. That's
Yeah.
what like was kind of is kind of mind blowing to me right now too.
Yeah. And dying unto, I love that you said that it was like a death of self because it's told to us in the Bible, die unto yourself, take up your cross, come and follow me. Ah,
Yes.
yep, 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 yep. And the next point, and then we'll wrap up here for this call, and then we'll jump backstage, is like we already kind of said, but obedience leads to intimacy with God. So it's not just a duty. Obedience is not just the duty, it's relational, and it
Yeah.
draws us closer in him. And walking in obedience is how we remain in step with him and experience his presence more deeply. Now, you can say, well, aren't you saying that when you get crucified, you receive Christ? Yes, but we're also instructed to renew that every day, to die unto ourselves every single day. So and there are examples of this, like David, right? David was so convicted in God and how big God was and what he could do. And he fought and defeated Goliath. But then I haven't, the series doesn't go there yet, but I did like chat with Chatty about like David's story. And there's a point in time where David loses his closeness with God because he starts getting wrapped up. And so if we are not careful to tend to that daily calling of renewing and keeping him close, speaking his word over us and speaking it as our truth, then there is a chance for separation. So
Yeah,
it's up to
because
us.
I want to like even say like the sun rises, the sun rises every day. Just like us, we can renew every day, just like the earth does. And we have that gift to for us every day to know that it's a new day. A lot of the songs that I've been listening to, it's like this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. That song. And just knowing that, the celebration song with Forrest Frank, just knowing that like we get to celebrate every day. We could live in the Eeyoreness, but we get to celebrate every day and just to have that reminder through song, through the sun, through I know not everyone gets sun, sorry. But but like the light, even Alaska, if you're in Alaska, I'm sorry. But like we have the new day. We have all this we have time to celebrate and not be in the the Eeyore. So
Yes.
I'm thinking of Eeyore.
I know. And funny enough, I was going to say, yep. And those of us who don't get to see the sun can definitely feel the Eeyore. Just take vitamin D if you are in that category. Just make sure you stay on top of it. Take extra, and it won't hurt you. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't hold me to that. Um, but I know I said I was going to wrap it up there, but I did mention this at the beginning of the call, and so I want to kind of give you a little bit of this, but um, Jesus does show us that it's okay to wrestle with obedience. Going back to that, it's not perfection that God is wanting from us, it's the relationship. And so I believe he wants us to be honest with him. Even though he can hear our thoughts,
And
I
see everything.
he knows, yes, nothing. There's nothing that can hide from him. Nowhere, nothing, anywhere, not even inside
Not
of our
even in your closet, not even in the bathroom.
not if you close all the doors, turn off all the lights, and there's no windows, right? But um when we put it before him, it's almost like he's reminding us of the power and that he gifted us with too, right? Like when we bring it to him, he is like, I already knew this, but like you needed to see that you feel this way because often we're also hiding it from ourselves. But the part in the Bible where Jesus shows us this, that it's okay, is in Matthew 26, verse 39, whenever it's coming time for his crucifixion. And he goes into the Garden of Gethsemane and he says, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. So he's basically saying, Dad, do I really have to do this? Like, are you sure this is what you need me to do? And so then he goes away back to the disciples that are with him and they're sleeping. And then he comes back and he prays, okay, well, if I have to do this, like, then can you please let it come now? Because he's like, okay, I've been stretched, like I'm ready, it's time. And he says that another time, the third time he says the same thing as the second time. But at the first one, he at least still shows that he was like, can you please take this from me? So I challenge us to, this is actually where I've been growing too. And I said this on the podcast where we were talking about our prayer, but I challenge you, whenever you are in that, feeling that tug of tension around being obedient, and I challenge you to surrender your actions and your fears to God, to ask, guide me. I'm giving myself God bumps. Guide me in walking in your will. Help it to be crystal clear for me. Help me to have all the courage and confidence that I know that only you can give, and the peace that you can give, because Jesus is the Prince of Peace. So if you are feeling uncomfortable with your getting uncomfortable with your comfort, then and uncomfortable with being obedient in the direction in which you're being called, the way you get through it is to seek the only one who can do it for you. Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, all together. All right, and that's my exit plan. Cheryl, any last words?
If you don't even know what we're talking about, but we're like, oh my gosh, I need to be part of that. We have one full week and a couple days left of our women or wisdom from women in the Bible. You text 85 or text women to 850-888-5182. If you're watching this after May, just text it there and then we'll get it to you somehow, some way. But it has been an awesome May. Thanks to this journey with women. I thought it was gonna not be so awesome, but I know, it's not me. Um, I just, I just love that. And if you want to join us backstage, we have replays. If you want to just know like what we do backstage, you can go to our website, stand.store/besties on purpose collective, and you will find the link to get the information there. But we're gonna just keep creating and we're gonna keep doing what being obedient in and taking action. So I'm just excited for the journey ahead and just celebrate today. I think that's the message that I want everyone to have. Celebrate today and have fun always.
Yes.
So
All
we
right.
will see you
We'll
next
see you
week.
next Wednesday, and you're welcome to join us for our Bible study on Tuesday. And also, Cheryl was referencing May Circle Insider. If you're not ready to become an ambassador in the ambassador circle, then take the middle step, which is just a May Circle Insider. Like she said, you'll get the replays, but you'll also get access to the next backstage with us on Wednesday.